Yeah, so I'm going to show you 3 pretty critical skills that I've built just in the last couple of months that we use for Revops on a daily or weekly basis. Things that used to take teams hours and hours each week now run by themselves every single day or every single week.
GTM AI Podcast with Jonathan Moss and Coach K, where you get the latest with AI and GTM today. GTM AI Podcast with Jonathan Moss and Coach K. Tune in now, don't delay. Catch the future on
Some people call me Coach. And today, again, just want to say thank you for listening in to our podcast. I am really excited because a dear friend of mine who has been a customer momentum and now has moved to a different place with Perplexity, Nate Follen, is here with us. Real quick about Nathan, I need to say something for those of you who do not know him. He's one of the most down-to-earth and smartest Revops guys I've ever had the privilege to see in action. He is part of the reason why Ramp was scaling so fast. He has a background and experience in tons of other companies doing business systems and Revops types of things, and now he's leading the charge at Perplexity, which is not, who I like to say is kind of like the sleeper because everyone doesn't seem to talk about it, but they're doing some killer things over Perplexity with the new features they have coming out, and I'm really excited that Nate is there leading the charge for the internal side of AI because he's all things GTM AI. This guy's the guy. So Nate, I'm so excited to have you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Excited to be on.
Yeah, man, this is going to be great. I don't even know where to start because there's so many things we could talk about, but obviously you're a customer momentum. You've been an amazing advisor and support for us there. And now going over to Perplexity, I wanted to start off obviously by letting people get to know you a little bit better. So if you don't mind telling me what's the non-resume version of who the heck is Nate?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, Jonathan, you're an absolute killer. I think the first sign I saw that AI was actually becoming very useful was when you put together a huge deck for us at Ramp with a competitive teardown. Shout out.
That's right. You had the first one, the Momentum IQ report. That's right.
It was a very early one where I'm like, wow, this is actually very impressive. So, shout out. Yeah. And that was probably a year ago at this point.
That was a year ago. That's
Things
crazy.
Have changed pretty quickly. But yes, my role at Perplexity is leading the go-to-market systems and operations for our enterprise. Mm-hmm. So we launched enterprise early last year. It's grown really quickly. And then this year we've launched our Perplexity Computer for Enterprise, which is a fully agentic co-working option or agentic digital worker option with end-to-end solutions. I might cut the co-working part out of there, but
that's all right.
But anyways, yeah, I lead enterprise systems and ops here at Perplexity. I've been here for about 6 months and it's been a blast. We launched our Perplexity for Enterprise about a little over a year ago, and have been growing like crazy over the last year. And then with our recent launch of Computer for Enterprise, it's been a lot of fun over the last 2 or 3 months or so.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had a chance to talk to you obviously in prep for this, but I was just asking you like how you think about the hiring people now that you have Perplexity at your fingertips. And you're saying like, every time I think I'm going to hire someone, I just solve it with Perplexity.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's actually frustrating because I come from a world where, you have people responsible for different surface areas. Yeah. And as you grow and scale, you need people to hold that responsibility. And now that things are just done quicker, both the strategic work and the really tactical work, instead of building these really centralized, non-agentic workflows for automating things that could be done pretty quickly, the automation is just done a lot faster now. Same with the strategic analysis. You can have a lot more confidence in decisions for things like headcount planning, where we're going with our product, what people are saying, what people are craving, et cetera. And on the Revops side, territory model, territory carving, total addressable market, that type of stuff that used to be, you need a headcount or two to really nail it. Feel really confident in decisions with using AI.
Yeah, there's what's fascinating. I was just at HumanX yesterday talking to some people, and I had to talk myself around Block. Jack, for the CEO of Block, just put out his own thing around how they just laid off 4,000 people out of 10,000 a month ago. And he just put out his plan of how to do a hierarchy that's centered around data and intelligence versus humans. And it's a fascinating read because it's drastically going to shift, I think, how teams are going to operate, because we're so used to the old world of having a manager and 7 people or a manager of managers, and this whole hierarchy thing that we don't have to have anymore, which is just crazy. But the challenge is that no one's really discovered what that new world looks like. I would say that you're probably on the cusp of figuring that out yourself because you're using Perplexity all over the place. So you're getting a sense of what it's like to run AI, to do all this different stuff. And it's a really interesting question to say, like, when do I need to hire someone? Because everything can be done with AI at some point. Like, how do you feel about it? How do you think about it now when you think about scaling Perplexity?
Yeah, I think really back on the go-to-market side, I back into it from customer experience. So we are hiring just to support our customers and make sure they're getting the most value out of Perplexity, and the prospects that are interested, making sure that they can either self-serve if that's their choice, or talk to our team to understand how they can best get the most out of the AI tools that we offer. So one, it's just what gives the best chance for our customers to really adopt our product. On the Revops side, I'm still learning. We are hiring on the marketing, sales, support, all across the board, engineering. So don't get me wrong, we're definitely hiring. Me personally, though, on the Revops side, I think it was funny. Anthropic posted recently a Salesforce admin role, and the Salesforce community blew up. They're still hiring a Salesforce admin because this work needs to get done, and people are kind of trying to dunk. But no, that's an example of one of those that you do need someone fully responsible for that surface area. In the last 2 months, Perplexity Computer is what we've used, as well as Cloud Code and other tools, to really get a handle on Salesforce architecture, new development. Yeah. It can all be done agentically now and monitored agentically, which is really handy.
Yeah, there's a lot of comparisons for people who don't know. The thing I love about Perplexity Computer is you're not restricted by the one model, and nothing against Claude. Claude's an amazing model. I use it, love it all the time. However, Perplexity has done a really good job of having, I don't know how many integrations already set up, and not that, again, Claude doesn't, but the Perplexity has more. You can use pretty much any model you can think of in the whole process, which is nice when Claude goes down. And there's just so many advantages to whether it doesn't. I'd love to get into this if we have time, but Perplexity does internet search way different than ChatGPT or Claude does. The whole model is different itself, and I don't think people understand the difference between Perplexity, just plain web search, and then what ChatGPT, Claude, or whoever does. It's a different model. So I love where Perplexity is going with this, and I'm saying this because I'm genuine about this. I literally got approval in my job now to use Perplexity Max in my marketing because I want to start running everything through Perplexity as results. I'm practicing what I'm preaching, and I can't wait to hopefully show people when I get it in the world and can show off what we're doing, because it's going to be, I'm really excited. But for today, let's talk about you. If someone stays for the entire podcast, what could they expect to learn from what you're going to show us?
Yeah, so I'm going to show you 3 pretty critical skills that I've built just in the last couple of months that we use for Revops on a daily or weekly basis. Things that used to take teams hours and hours each week now run by themselves every single day or every single week.
I love it. Let's do it. Let's get into it. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with something probably near and dear to your heart, which is voice of customer and transcript analysis.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I love that one. Yep.
So yeah, we're customers of Momentum at the moment. So we're call recording there. And what's handy is we don't have a connector directly with them, but we do have an API key, and Computer is good enough just to ask, hey, can you share this skill? So we have a shared skill across our team of here's how you analyze call transcripts. And so we have jobs like call coaching jobs. Individual reps have their own way of doing things, the transcripts, ways they like them outputted, follow-up emails and things sent through there. They also have kind of native follow-up out of the box things as well. But I wanted to kind of pull all that data up and share it across our org. And not only sharing what we're hearing, et cetera, but what we should do about it, which is a voice of the customer dashboard with a couple of prompts and dropped in the API key.
Good. Can I ask you a quick question before you show that? I'm curious because a lot of people think they can use Cloud Code or Perplexity Computer to replace a tool like Momentum. You guys obviously became customers. Where's the line between I use Perplexity to analyze transcripts versus I have Momentum to run things into Salesforce? Like, how do you think about using those side by side versus just replacing it?
Yeah, I think the line is people talk about this with CRMs as well. You need a system of record any longer. Right now, our line is what works and what we can maintain. So we're the orchestration layer across these 400 different tools. So if there's a very good tool at calendar scheduling, right? We want it to be agentic so that we can make modifications. If there's a good tool for moving data around, ETL, we'll still use those tools and we'll be the agentic layer and make sure that we can understand what's going on with those tools, monitor them, as well as develop with them. So it's the best of both worlds in that sense. A lot of software is trying to live in both worlds. So oftentimes we have UX over here and people are jumping to the different pages and dashboards. But what they really want is just this one section of this Apollo dash and this other section of Salesforce and then this call section. And at scale, as a former admin and RevOps leader, there's always been a new sales leader wants this whole new dashboard built a different way just for them. Rockstar rep has their own way of doing it that looks incredibly manual, and we have a mandate to move that to a more structured way. or just things don't get shared. So people have really cool ways of doing that things and they don't get shared internally because they're kind of hard to build or operationally intensive. So I think of Perplexity as one, the connectors are a huge game changer. It's a flywheel. So the better the tools get and the more accessible they are through agents, the better for us, because we can leverage the best of what their tool is built for, as well as orchestrate between different tools.
So then, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but for Momentum, the reason why you have it is because of right now, Perplexity doesn't have the integration depth that Salesforce or that Momentum does in the Salesforce to automate all the other shenanigans that a rep would have to do. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, I think the reason we have it is one, we need some good call transcript analysis, good call recording software. And yes, there are certain verticals that we're building really deep workflows and use cases for all Perplexity computer. So that line does shift every month or so. And we're seeing
that's crazy.
We're seeing that with our companies is like, why do I need this? And the reality is in some cases, you don't need expensive software to do fit for purpose things, and building something out internally with computer or other agentic tools is the right solution in some cases.
Yeah, I love it. Sorry to interrupt you. Let's keep going. You're going to show me some stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, cool. And the other piece of that is support. So like one thing that's near and dear to my heart is working with your team, and Momentum has been great because they are deployed and they know the tool and they talk to other customers. Similarly, we talk to a ton of customers that are looking for some guidance on how to best use AI, what workflows work best, what to look out for. And so having a vendor that you work with that is an expert in that goes a long way as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. I'll share my screen here. I'm going to show you how I approach voice of customer. This is demo data, but we have this live refreshing in our org every single day with call transcripts and information. So I'll go back to a thread here.
Look at that. That's awesome.
Yeah, this is just the overview. Basically 2 prompts set it up, and then I ask some different prompts to tweak it throughout the weeks. But have sections on the left here with high-level overviews, key themes for the week. And one notable thing here is this is pretty simple to build. This is sent it off with a prompt. It had access to all the data that it needed. I asked it just to evaluate first calls, like discovery calls versus other calls, and it was able to auto tag those. So instead of living in a world where you need a Salesforce admin to go or a data team to go analyze if it's a first call or not, or a specific software to analyze that type of information, it's able to parse that based on the context of the call and to understand what are first calls, what are follow-ups, et cetera. So these are the sections that I have. What are we talking about commercials wise? This feeds into pricing and packaging discussions. What are questions, positive, what are rollout plans, et cetera. Use case library. This has been really helpful in just pulling out cool ideas from our customers and prospects of what they've already built with AI or internally, or which workflows they really want that they haven't quite.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So this has been really helpful. And I think that the thing that's been most helpful for me is the key themes and what to do about it. So I asked it, based on this section, pull out the key theme. What at the high level do we need to know about what's happening? And then 2, what should the product team do about it? And what should myself as enablement do about it? So where do we need more enablement? What do the sales teams need to be successful? What product marketing materials, et cetera? So this kind of what we do about it has been the game changer, because sometimes it's just left up to discretion, or viewing a dashboard isn't really actionable. So seeing this and saying, oh yes, everyone agrees with this. We absolutely need to build this new marketing material or some better positioning on here, or a quick ROI calculator, et cetera. Most of these things we've built or can be built really quickly. So that's
awesome. So to be clear, you had a couple of prompts, and then a large part of this is just connecting to the data, because then the AI has context on whatever the heck's going on. So the data is the call transcripts and then Salesforce, or what's the integrations?
Yeah, the data is our Momentum call transcripts. This one. And so this is, and Salesforce, it also syncs to Salesforce, understands context and titles of who we're meeting with, et cetera, and the sales team.
Awesome.
And so it knows them based on roles. We have, the really nice thing is the memory will just remember when I say sellers, I'm talking about people in this role. When I say our account management team, I'm talking about these folks. So based on that, the future questions that I ask are just much more accurate. And I think that's the key theme, is just the accuracy in search, and then the memory makes it much more accurate.
What have you done different, or what as the team, or what have you done differently as a result of this? Because like you said before, this would have taken a long time to do before, to do all the cross analysis and whatever. What is this enabling you to do that would have been hard before?
Yeah. So this is actually just one step in a much longer prompt. So
yeah,
This has enabled us really just to share with the product team what's going on versus a couple of Slack pings here and there of, hey, this customer wants this. This is a feature we absolutely need. It helps them develop the roadmap to understand, one, like what are the exact quotes so we're not misinterpreting what people are asking for, especially these really technical CISOs and people that are cutting edge with AI. They're asking for some really specific feature sets that we want to be able to share exact transcripts on. Two, it really gives us like actionable feedback of what we should do about what's coming up. And then three, one kind of fun aspect was we're able to pull out the key kind of fun themes. And I have those good quotes or customers that are big fans, and we can use them as champions. So instead of us just selling, hey, we have another person that's gotten a ton of value from Perplexity. Would you like to have a conversation with them at this company and help foster relationships that way? Really fun one. Sorry.
No, tell me.
Just a customer sizzle reel. I think Momentum has a feature of little snippets of videos.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, it'd be cool if the smart clips coming here. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So we categorized all the best kind of quotes, and it basically said, here are like the top 20 quotes you should use this week. And
that's awesome.
The videos, took a couple clips out, put them into Perplexity Computer. And because it has all the models, it can do video editing. So it spun up video editing, played this in a background song of Everything is Computer with some YouTube cuts in there. I
wow.
Couple screenshots, and it ended up with a really cool sizzle reel for about 2 minutes of just customers saying how much they like it, which use cases they're getting the most value from.
Wow.
That was really cool because people see little bits and pieces, but a 2-minute well-edited video with some music and stuff like that went a long way.
That is awesome. I love it. So do you feel like my marketing brain is going crazy? Because I believe that everything marketing should be founded on the voice of the customer for many reasons. Do you feel like that this has helped influence how Perplexity is communicating to the overall market as a whole? Just hearing what's going on?
Yeah, I think so. Our marketing team is great. So they're very in the know, but this is just data to support their decisions or help double down on certain bets that we're making or positions we're taking. So yeah, this has absolutely helped validate or surface new ideas.
I love it. What's next? What we got next? Keep cooking.
What's next is I had mentioned there's the multi-step workflows that I use it a ton for. One of which is every week I lead Revops go-to-market enterprise call. We need to pull in data. Usually that's a slide deck that takes an hour to build.
Whatever. Yeah.
Pull data from different Slack channels, et cetera. I turn that all into just a skill. And that pulls from both this voice of customer dashboard. It goes through, I'll actually just share what our skills library looks like.
Oh yeah. The skills, like, so I've been geeking on skills. I can't wait for this.
Yeah. So we have skills library here. Here's the call transcript skill. We can share these with the org. One that Revops deck prep. This is the one that I use quite a bit. It just runs weekly on Thursdays. So it should kick off here in a couple of minutes. And what it does is it goes through our entire, what I want the deck to look like, and then goes through our Slack channels, the key Slack channels that have project information. It goes through pinging our sales team to make sure they update anything stale and make sure our in-month pipeline is set and accurate. Sends a Slack message, and also asks to put in thread anything that they would like included in this slide deck to talk about in our meeting. And it also mentions it's going to recheck that, set up a cron job to recheck that thread and pull whatever people had said into the final slide deck once it's ready. So this has been really great. And one thing it's just saved a ton of time, and also pulls information from different Slack channels that used to be, okay, people know about it. Technically, it was shared in this one channel, but it will scan things and make decisions of what's important for the full team to be aware of, on which projects and different project statuses, et cetera. Also connects to Linear. So if there's some quick burn down of what's been done, what needs to be done, it can connect to, we have about 400 different connectors. So that one's been really helpful.
Yeah. Does that help you shift like how you enable them? Because is that more of a saying, do I build a skill for this to help someone do something? Or how do you think about enabling your sales team when you have this type of path?
Yeah. The sales team is unbelievably good with skills. We share them daily, so I share them really often. Some really good examples on the sales side are pre-call prep. So instead of me showing up to a meeting with you, Jonathan, and saying, what do you want to talk about? Let's do some discovery. Instead, we flip it to, we already have some idea. We'll do some early discovery. And then we'll have some suggestions for what people in your role typically have the most kind of wow factor and solves the biggest pain points. So the pre-call prep can be in any form. Oftentimes we'll have, it'll scan the calendar for the day or the next meeting, send a Slack DM with a PDF of just who you're talking with, what some good use cases to go over, what to make sure to mention, and their background. So it could watch all of your podcasts, find some fun about, which is actually
exactly what I want, all the podcasts.
Yeah. No, but it's been really cool. So the pre-call prep and the accuracy that you had mentioned is one of the big differentiators. Having indexed billions of sites and having the actual accurate information of people's titles, what they do, what their background is where people kind of stick with Perplexity, because just minor inaccuracies about their company or their role can kill a deal early.
Yeah, I can understand that, which I would just guess that all these things come in line to obviously make things go faster, because it's when we did the stuff at Momentum, we started looking at what holds back teams to accelerate sales cycle. And there's something like 70% of the things that hold back sales cycle are internal things. They're not even external customer issues. You know what I mean? Which is crazy. So yeah, all the stuff you get out of the way internally, you can go so freaking fast once you get all the team, get the crap out of the way, they can do their job.
Yeah. So it's kind of solving for organizational change and making that painless.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. So those two use cases. You have one more. I think you had one more to show, I think.
Yeah. I think the one other good example would just be on I'd mentioned a couple of times, just data cleanup and accuracy. So that's one that if there's not good data foundations, the accuracy fails. So we have different agents and skills that I use to make sure that our account ownership is clean, our hierarchies in Salesforce are accurate. If we have mismatching kind of domains and contacts, that gets cleaned up on a nightly basis. And then to further advance that, we also use different tools and integrations to make sure that we have regular kind of structured workflows in place.
I love it.
So I'll show you an example here. So we started testing this tool, Polytomic, it's called. We use High Touch as well, and a few other tools. And so we built a skill just to connect to its API and standardize our, let's share the right screen here. Cool. So we wanted all of our Salesforce accounts. We have multiple different lead channels of where people are being created from. We wanted it standardized. So it went through and I wanted to make sure that if we're emailing people, that account gets updated to the person that should own the account automatically. In a past world, we would use things like flows and after save flows on activities and tasks. As companies scale up, those flows start to overlap and break. So we needed a more batchable job. And we could do that with Apex. So walked through suggesting Apex jobs versus another structured process here. Let me pull up our Polytomic. And just asked, I wasn't even sure if this would work, but I said, could you make sure this works, build our data models with this new tool we're testing called Polytomic, build the models in Salesforce and make sure that we're using SQL to pull data out to see which activities have been logged, looking at the accounts and then reinserting the account owner. And this could be used for tons of different use cases of, hey, we want to see what the current pipeline is and have that roll up to the user level for reporting, or who's been routed the most deals in the last X amount of days. So these things that we don't necessarily want to trigger in real time and we can do hourly, works really well for. So like I said, our ROE rules. Here's our rules of engagement. Here's our ownership principles. And I went here and it automatically had created the models and it created the model syncs. I just need to turn them on and it showed all of it for us without having to log into the tool at all. So now we have this ongoing job that will sync back information from Salesforce to Salesforce essentially, and it can scale to any audience. So that the next step is really just making our full marketing and audience lists fully agentic as well.
How do you... Yeah, I'm finding fascinating is I feel like you're shifting the way that you're thinking about Revops as a result of this. Not that the Revops doesn't change as a result, but how you're thinking about solving problems is drastically shifting than before, right? So can you give an example of like when you showed me these 3 use cases, what would you've done in the past at Ramp, which was not a slacker team? You guys have a killer team at Ramp versus now your Perplexity. Like, how do you think about it differently from one to the next?
Yeah, I think it's in the past for that example, we'll start with the third example would be like structured batch jobs in Salesforce or triggered flow actions upon activity insert. Where that breaks is when you dedupe records, for instance, or these fringe cases where the real time doesn't work and the data has to be accurate. So you have to have a cleanup job. So then you have multiple jobs going on. In this case,
Right.
I have general CRM hygiene job that's just running with Perplexity Computer and Salesforce integration. And then when it catches things that we should build, we run the cleanup job either directly with Perplexity daily, or we use a tool like Polytomic or Hightouch or tools to make sure that when we dedupe records and things, that gets solved. And so the monitoring of it is automated. I also have a skill that just goes through every Slack channel, all of my emails, and surfaces a DM to me with any errors logged with severity, as well as how to resolve the errors if we catch them. So that's been really helpful, and just feeling that confidence of we can change things really quickly and we'll catch errors. It makes it a lot easier to build quickly. Let's see. The other example, I think the slide deck preparation, that's just a perfect example of workflows where we want to ping people, ask them questions. We want to pull actual data. So we integrate with Claude Code. So it has all the contextual layer of our entire Snowflake database. So we can ask questions about month over month trends, things like that, day over day trends of different revenue streams that will output into a clean dashboard or PDF or whatever output we'd like really for the slide deck. So that's been honestly the fastest. Before we'd ping a data channel, someone on the data team might run that or point us to the right existing blessed dashboard that it exists. Now it can be a lot more self-served with kind of that, the integrations with Snowflake and everything.
Where do you see, as you're now sitting here, do you see all the things happening and just obviously being in the middle of it? Where do you see things going? Like with Revops specifically, like in the next year, as things keep progressing, what do you see happening or changing even from where we are now?
Yeah, the biggest change, honestly, I've seen in myself, the way I work versus the way things maybe been a year ago, 2 years ago, is the job of Revops used to be find the top 2 things to work on, make sure you stay focused and get those done. With agents, you can really broaden that aperture and say, actually, this thing that used to be a big kind of workload of internal referrals process that has to be done this way, we have to find out a way to pay out people. Those projects can be done with a prompt and then checking in on how it went, suggested actions, and then say, go ahead, execute this. So I think just the volume of projects that can be done, and the time is less spent saying, let's not do this. It's not a priority. It's like in the time you tried to push back on a project, it could have essentially been a version 1 completed to see if it works. So what I'm saying is we can just run a lot more projects in parallel and test a lot more things, especially on the marketing side. You can test a lot more experiments on the marketing side with less resources.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing that because my team here I'm at with OneMind is wanting to scale like crazy. And I keep telling them, I don't want to do this by headcount. Let me try to do this as much as I can with AI because I just want to see if I can do it. And I think I can because I've seen too many people like yourself and others who are doing some crazy things. I'm like, I'm going to do this. So I think that's the point is it takes people like yourself who are willing to say, do I have to hire for this? And I don't mean to say this in a way of saying you shouldn't give people jobs. It's more of saying it's revolving around the intelligence and the capabilities versus just hiring and making that the answer.
Yes. Yeah. And I think if the responsibilities are different, absolutely. And that's why we're hiring so much is if you hire 2 people and tell them to do the same thing with agents, it's going to be a mess. You're going to have 2 people overlapping. But if you have different responsibility areas and both are able to manage a team of 10, 20, 100 different agents to do different specific things that make their output better and more efficient, then absolutely hire that person right away, especially if they're curious and willing to kind of manage an agent team. That's the biggest change. I've actually did kind of something fun today. I asked all my kind of skills and agents to do a daily stand-up and say, what did you work on? What should you do better? I read through my emails, Slacks, et cetera, to see where we could layer on a new teammate or new agent. And it was funny. The output was pretty accurate. And I do this weekly too with projects and say, where have projects stalled? Where should I focus? That would have the biggest impact on where Perplexity is going and the team.
Wow.
It's usually pretty spot on just because it can read all of my kind of core Slack channels.
All your stuff. Yeah.
And see where things are dropped. Our sales team does this as well. We call it the 0 lead leakage goal. It's like, where do we need to follow up and drive deals across? And it will do it programmatically. And the nice thing is you can do it at any time. You can say, what emails did I miss from January? It'll just go through and pull those. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. These last couple of months have been unbelievable. And yeah, it's definitely a different world than it was maybe a year ago.
Yeah, Nate, I love you doing this, and I'll have to report back to you when I get my hands dirty, because literally this next week is my Perplexity logging in integration time. So I'm excited to see what happens and share with you out there. No.
Yeah, I love learning from yourself, others. Like, there's people way more creative than I am, so I love hearing like how people use it, especially on the marketing side. But yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming. And if you're okay with it, I'm going to include your LinkedIn link here, and obviously Perplexity.ai is the website for Perplexity. But are you okay if I include your LinkedIn information
Absolutely.
for people? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell you, thank you so much. You're someone who is highly inspiring and always been so helpful and kind and open to talk about whatever. So I just really appreciate you. Hope you know that.
No, I appreciate you, and
Yeah, man.
love learning from you and your content. And hey, shout out if anybody is looking for a new role and curious and loves the AI tooling and Perplexity.
Yeah. I love it. I actually know a few people. I'll ping them after this. It'll be fun.
Awesome.
So, awesome. Thanks, my man.
All right. Have a good day. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the GTM AI Podcast. Please follow, subscribe, like, comment, and come back for more.